I-44. Alright. We'll be looking at the entire route of Interstate 44. It goes from Wichita Falls, Texas to St. Louis, Missouri. It used to just go from Oklahoma City to St. Louis, Missouri. However, it was extended in 1982 down the H.E. Bailey Turnpike to Wichita Falls. Before I continue, please leave a like, leave a comment, please share, subscribe, and turn on those notifications, and let's get started. Alright, let's talk about Interstate 44 eastbound. So here in the Wichita Falls area, we meet a bunch of highways. We're currently on US 281, and we get the similar thing on these other highways. We usually see where these other highways are going, plus we get a mention of Interstate 44 is signed for Lawton, and then Amarillo is for 287 here, and then as well as over here we meet US 82 and US 277 for Lubbock and Abilene. Here is our best view of downtown Wichita Falls. And as we meet the beginning of Interstate 44, 44 East is signed for Burke, Burnett, and Lawton. Oh, Texas. Oh, Texas. You just had to sign the one other place that Interstate 44 goes to in your state besides Wichita Falls. You just had to throw that in there. And I mean, at least Lawton's on here, but I honestly would sign this Lawton, Oklahoma City, instead of Burke, Burnett, Lawton here. And as 287 splits, we get the same kind of deal. We get 44 East, Burke, Burnett, Lawton. 287 signed for Vernon and Amarillo. And Spur 235 here, signed for the Shepherd Air Force Base and the regional airport. And first mile sign, we have Burke, Burnett, and Lawton, just as it was on the pull-through signs. However, this is still in Texas. We don't get either of those. We don't get Burke, Burnett, or Lawton on this sign. We get Chickasha and Oklahoma City, 85 and 132. So, kind of weird. They have just a larger list of cities in the Wichita Falls area. So, kind of weird. I don't know if Oklahoma City is now the primary or if this is just a one-off sign. Imagine it's just a one-off sign, but at least there's a mention of it. And now we enter Oklahoma. We have Welcome to Oklahoma sign. We just passed the Red River. It wasn't that impressive of a view, so I didn't really show it. Now we have Lawton 35 and Oklahoma City 121, so at least Oklahoma is signing both of those. However, at exits, we just have 44 East for Lawton. So this seems like it is a primary control. I don't think this is just a secondary, but because they signed Wichita Falls going the other way on this exit. So yeah, I don't know. This is, I guess Lawton is our primary control, which, I mean, kind of makes sense going the other way, but going this way, since Oklahoma City is so much bigger, I'd probably just sign Oklahoma City as the primary. And now at exit 5, we have US 70. This is the start of the H.E. Bailey Turnpike. We have Lawton, Chickasha, and Oklahoma City. Oklahoma, we don't need Chickasha on this sign. Chickasha is smaller than Lawton. It's further. Lawton, Oklahoma City would be just fine here. If you're going to sign 2. We don't need 3. And on the Turnpike, we get this kind of thing. We don't really get control cities. We just get 44 East Turnpike. So, a little strange here. Now we have Walters 14, Lawton 31, and Oklahoma City 117. I couldn't find the actual... I think this is the toll booth, or like the cashless toll, but we have Pike Pass for 90 cents and Plate Pay for $2. Oklahoma is moving in the direction of cashless tolling, and I think most of them are cashless tolling now. I'm not sure if there's any cash ones left. Here is a service plaza among the way. We have the Elmer Graham Plaza. And we also have this Pike Pass customer service center right here. And from the service center, we have 44 East for Lawton and Oklahoma City, so that's a good use of dual signage there. And here we are in the Lawton area. We have Business Cache Road here, or Cache Road, I'm not sure. And we have 44 East now just signed for Oklahoma City, as well as 277 and 281. We can meet a lot of exits for 277, but it's never signed when it is. And I don't know, I wasn't gonna go slap 277 shields on all of these, so yeah. Meet with US 62 West for Cache and Altus. And we have this 55-mile-per-hour speed limit. Seems a little low for Lawton, I'm not gonna lie. Like, Lawton's not really a huge place, there's probably not a lot of traffic. So yeah, I don't know about 55 miles per hour here. Continuing on, we meet the other section of the H.E. Bailey Turnpike. That section in Lawton is basically like a free section. Now we have 62, 277, 281 for Elgin, Pache, and Anadarko. And H.E. Bailey Turnpike is now signed for Chickasha and Oklahoma City. Chickasha is like okay as a secondary. Oklahoma usually signs two cities on their turnpikes, and for the most part they make sense. Chickasha, I mean, you can leave it off, but at least Oklahoma City's on the sign, so I guess I'm okay with it. We meet a rare 277 sign on an exit. It is signed for Elgin, Fletcher, and Sterling. And we meet another toll area. We have Pike Pass 195, and Plate Pay is 395, so this section's even more expensive. The section between Lawton and Oklahoma City. Meet with 81 is signed for Chickasha and Duncan. 62 for Chickasha and Anadarko. And once we pass Chickasha, now we just have Oklahoma City 40, so they don't sign anything between here in Oklahoma City. A little weird because there are a few suburbs you could sign, but I guess this is okay as long as Oklahoma City's on there. Now we meet with State Highway 4. State Highway 4 is a toll section and a non-toll section. It gets a laundry list of suburbs to sign here, but that's okay for State Highway or even a toll road and then in a large metro like this. So we have 44 East signed for Oklahoma City now. And at an exit, we have Oklahoma City and Moore signed. Moore is for State Highway 37. And we meet with Interstate 240. 240 East is signed for Fort Smith because that is where Interstate 40 goes, and 240 is where it goes all the way to 40 and ends there. 44 East is now signed for Tulsa since we're basically already in Oklahoma City. I understand not signing downtown because downtown you would want to take Interstate 40 and exit off of 40 to go to downtown. And now we meet with the airport road, and now we have 44 to I-40 for Tulsa and Wichita. Kind of weird that 40 is mentioned here, but we don't get a control city for 40. We get Wichita, which is a control city for 35. Here we are meeting with I-40. I-40 West is signed for Amarillo. I-40 East is signed for Fort Smith. I think I-40 East Fort Smith should probably be changed to downtown OKC or something like that, since 44 traffic would want to take 40 to get to downtown. And 44 East, Tulsa, Wichita, that's okay. I wouldn't mind seeing an I-35 mention here, but staying on 44 is the fastest way to Wichita, so I guess I'm okay with that. Here we are, splitting off from the Hefner Parkway, State Highway 3, State Highway 74. I wonder if it's named after Hugh Hefner. And then Oklahoma Highway 66 West for War Acres and Bethany. Some suburban areas. And then 44 East to I-35, we have Tulsa and Wichita. Meet with the northern end of 235 is signed for Oklahoma City and Edmond. Edmond is for US 77. And then 44 East still gets Tulsa. And here is the merging with I-35. We don't get an overhead sign or anything because they are working on construction for this area. 35 North, 44 East gets a left lane, and 35 South gets a right lane sign. And here is the split with 44 East Tulsa. We are on the Turner Turnpike now, and our first mileage sign we see, we have Wellston 21, Tulsa 92, and Joplin 202. Oklahoma, why? Okay, the reason why I don't like this is because, I mean, it is cool that they're signing stuff beyond Tulsa, but Joplin is 8 times smaller than Tulsa. Like, I don't know if Oklahoma is trying to do this to not seem provincial or whatever, but Tulsa is a big city. It's your second largest city. You should be signing Tulsa on the bottom line here. You don't need to sign Joplin here. And, okay, you might ask, like, oh, is it just a one-off sign? It isn't. It's not. I'm going to show you in a minute, but here is the Kickapoo Turnpike. Also, it's 335. I talked about this in the 40 video, but I don't know. I feel like this should be 344, and then the other 344 area, that should probably be 335. I mean, 344 isn't that bad on the Kilpatrick Turnpike, just because it does meet with 44, but yeah, right now it doesn't meet with 35, so I don't really know why 335 is the designation here. I know they're planning to extend it to 35, but still, like, it's kind of, like, just odd that this is the numbers they went with. Here's the one time I've found where Tulsa is on the bottom line. We have Wellston 9, Stroud 30, and Tulsa 79. But again, on the next sign, we have Stroud 12, Tulsa 60, and Joplin 170. And this is on like every one of them past that last sign I just showed. Again, it's like, I'm going to talk about 44's Control City after Tulsa in a minute, but again, just sign Tulsa on the bottom line until you get either near Tulsa or past it. Here is a service plaza we meet along the way. This is the, I imagine this is the Chandler, the Stroud Plaza. I forgot which one this was called, but it's one of those. Meet with 377 and State Highway 99, sign for Stroud and Drumright, and we see a Route 66 sign right here. Since basically past Oklahoma City all the way up to St. Louis, we're going to be following Route 66, or the historic Route 66 now. And again, we have Bristow 17, Tulsa 48, and Joplin 158. Here is the toll booth. I didn't see how much this one was, but I think when I drove this a few times to Oklahoma City, I think this was maybe $1. I don't know if it still is $1, but it's not that much for this section. And then we get this, if exiting at Bristow or Sapulpa, we get a refund receipt. So that's kind of cool. They have a few exits where you can get money back. And this is how I knew I was getting closer to Tulsa, when we have these 3 lanes for going eastbound, and we have these lights here. They built these lights pretty much all along this 3-lane section, or I guess 6 lanes if you're counting both of them. We are getting closer to Tulsa now, so we meet this Crete Turnpike right here. It is signed for Joplin, as well as Jenks and Broken Arrow. So we do get some information here. 44 East is signed for Tulsa downtown. And it's signed that because we meet with 244 East, and that goes to downtown Tulsa. We also meet with the Gilcrease Expressway. And then 44 East is now signed for Joplin, since it doesn't really touch downtown Tulsa too much. So I guess now is where I should talk about Joplin. So it is a city in Missouri, okay? But for signing something in Missouri, I don't think we should sign Joplin. Springfield would be a better choice, but really, this should be St. Louis. And I know this is a little spoiler for Westbound, and for those who don't know how St. Louis signs it, But the way St. Louis signs 44, I really think Oklahoma could take a big swing and just sign 44 East for St. Louis. Anyway, here is US 75. It is signed for Okmulgee and Bartlesville. Bartlesville definitely is a sensible choice. Okmulgee, talked about it in the 75 South video, but I don't know. They could sign Dallas here, but Okmulgee isn't horrible either. Just because it's a more, like, it's a somewhat more substantial local place. So, I don't know. And we also see the ghost ramps. This is called the Tulsa Stonehenge, because we have just all these random ramps, these random pillars and stuff, but we don't have any ramps associated with them yet. But I did hear that they were working on completing these starting this year. I'm not sure when, but I think construction is going to resume on these. So they say. 44 East continues with Joplin, and then we get 264 State Highway 51 and 169 for Muskogee and Broken Arrow. Here we are meeting with 169 North for Wasso, 44 East and State Highway 66 is still signed for Joplin. We meet with 412 here, or 412 I guess is maybe splitting off from us, is signed for Choteau. And then 44 East, Claremore, and Joplin. I talked about this in 75 as well. We don't need Claremore here. Joplin is like 50,000 people. I don't think we need a secondary between here and Joplin. If you're going to sign two cities, do Joplin, Springfield, or Joplin, St. Louis, Springfield, St. Louis. Any of those would be better, honestly. And at exits, we have Joplin and Tulsa signed, so at least they're consistent. I mean, Joplin's not the greatest choice in the world, but at least they are consistent with it. They're not trying to be super provincial or anything. And this is the Will Rogers Turnpike now, between Tulsa and Joplin, so be following that. 69 we meet here is signed for Big Cabin. And again, mileage sign, we get Veneta 7, Afton 22, and Joplin 57. And then Veneta for US 60 right here, and also State Highway 66. And we also see another historic Oklahoma US 66 route sign right here. And now we get Afton 15, Miami 25, Joplin 50. Again, Joplin makes a little more sense on 49 just because the cities aren't as big. Like going southbound on 49, I think Joplin does make sense as a primary control. Northbound, I think kind of makes sense. You could argue for Kansas City going north out of the Fayetteville area. But, I mean, even Joplin is sort of okay, because at least, like, you meet 44, and it is the fastest way to, like, St. Louis from Fayetteville. So, I mean, it makes sense of 49, but 44, just the way 44 is signed between, like, St. Louis and Tulsa, I don't know. I really think they should just sign St. Louis here. Meet with 59 and 60 is signed for Afton, Fairland, and Grove. And this is an exit where you can present your receipt for a refund. And we also see another Route 66 sign. We get Miami 12 and Joplin 37. Then Oklahoma, you've done it again. State Line 16. I knew you did this on your U.S. highways, but you got to do it for an interstate too. I know it's a turnpike, but at the same time, like, it's an interstate. You can sign stuff besides state line. Oh, Oklahoma, you're killing me. So we get State Line 16 and Joplin 26. This should be Joplin St. Louis or Joplin Springfield. Anyway, we enter Missouri. We have Missouri welcomes you and a welcome center in 2 miles. I think I forgot to show the welcome center this time. But we do see a city limit Joplin and population sign right here. And in the distance, we have a 166 and 400 signed west for Downstream Boulevard and Baxter Springs. Baxter Springs is in Kansas, but 44, of course, doesn't go to Kansas. It barely like skirts around it. Meet with Interstate 49 here in Joplin. 44 East and 49 North is signed for Springfield and Kansas City. So that's an okay sign. I wouldn't mind St. Louis, Kansas City, but Springfield in terms of Missouri signage is still decent, so I'm okay with that. And then 49 South is signed for Neosho and Fort Smith. This should be Fayetteville, Fort Smith, not Neosho, Fort Smith. Like, Fayetteville should be signed either before Fort Smith or along with Fort Smith. However, on the mileage signs, we get County Road 103, Springfield 58, and St. Louis 272. So they signed St. Louis on the mileage signs, and they signed it this way basically up until Springfield. So Springfield's still a little far. It's 58 miles. I mean, they could have signed a few towns in between, but they signed St. Louis here. I like that. Meet with Missouri Highway 360 here for the James River Freeway and 2 Route 60. They're talking about US 60 there. Meet with 160 is signed for the Willard West Bypass here in Springfield. And here we are meeting with US 65. US 65 actually does get pretty good control cities here. We get 65 North for Sedalia and 65 South for Branson. Those are good choices, and then 44 East gets an overhead for St. Louis, so I think that is great. But even within, this is still within Springfield, I'm almost positive. We get 44 East, Rolla. Okay, Rolla. Yeah, let's go with that. Let's go with that. However, a mileage sign we have Sparkle Brook Road 3, Sampson Road. I don't know if that's the same road as this 3-mile one or not. Then we get Rolla 81 and St. Louis 187. So, okay, maybe the Rolla sign was just like a secondary control, okay? I'm usually lenient when it comes to secondary controls, but let's see. Yeah. We get Phillipsburg for Rolla 70. So Missouri is acting like Rolla is our primary control now. It's on the bottom line of the mileage signs, and it's at basically every interchange between here and Rolla. So I do not like that at all. This should still say St. Louis, not Rolla. However, we meet with US 63 in Rolla. It is signed for Rolla still, and it is signed for Jefferson City, so at least they signed that here. And in Rolla, we do meet live exits that say 44 East St. Louis, so at least they're doing okay after this. And then we have St. Louis on the mileage signs again. And it's signed this way basically until St. Louis. I had to show this. This Bigfoot monster truck is right here. And there's a lot of cool stuff like this. I'll definitely show some more cool Route 66 stuff going westbound. Here in the St. Louis area, we meet with 270 north and south for Chicago and Memphis. Durpog made a 255 and 270 video. I'll definitely card that one. And then 44 East is still signed for St. Louis as well as US 50. We don't meet the interchange with US 50 because it would be more useful going the other way, but we do meet it here. We have 44 East for St. Louis. Lindbergh Boulevard for 61, 67, and 50. Meet with Interstate 55. 44 east of 55 are concurrent and will go to downtown St. Louis and also Illinois. Illinois is for 55, not for 44, since it ends at I-70, but I-70 does go to Illinois as well, so I understand if it's time for 44. And then 55 south for Memphis here. Meet with 44 east to I-70 west for Kansas City, as well as a sign here for North 55, East 64, and 2 I-70 east for Illinois. So if you wanted to go on East 70, you would want to take this exit here. And we have this view of St. Louis here, as well as the Gateway Arch. And here's another view of St. Louis. We see East 44 to 70 West Kansas City right here. And then at the very end of 44, we get 44 East ends, continue on 70 West. So that's a pretty good sign. And this is where we will end. All right, and then my final verdict for Interstate 44, the entire eastbound route. East Lawton and Oklahoma City. Lawton is fairly substantial for southwestern Oklahoma, but since Oklahoma City's not that much further, I think I would just sign both of them. And then once out of Lawton, Oklahoma City, then once out of Oklahoma City, just sign Tulsa, no Joplin, nothing like that. And then out of Tulsa, I would sign both Joplin and St. Louis, and then Springfield, St. Louis, and then just St. Louis. And then once 44 ends at 70, it's just say Kansas City from its end. And that'll wrap it up. Thanks for watching. Right now, as of recording, I'm at 129 subscribers, so I'm getting more every day. I may have hit 130 or even 150 by the time this goes live, and if so, thank you so much for your support, and I have much more planned in the future. Thanks for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed.